Welcome to Table Flippers Podcast, outreach of Greater Works Christian Church here in Lancaster, California. I am your host, Robert Enos, along with Chippy the Chipmunk.
Oh, my adoring fans.
Get ready for a huge dose of reality and a huge dose of common sense.
You said it, brother.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Boy, is it good to be back with all of you. I know I haven't put out a episode for quite a while, and well, there's good reason for it, which I'm about to share. But before I get into that, I was sitting here thinking, I had several people over the course of these podcasts say, wow, you remind me a lot of Rush Limbaugh, which to me is a huge compliment, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Not that I was trying to be like Rush Limbaugh, but years ago, I used to listen to him, and this goes back a long time ago. And then later on, when I was in the ministry, I didn't really listen to him too much, only because I didn't listen to a lot of radio, to be honest with you. But when I was working, I would listen to a lot of radio. And of course, it was not always, but often tuned into the Rush Limbaugh show. So I remember him talking about how he would have a big cigar, and he was always behind the golden EIB microphone. And as I was thinking about it, I said, cool, I was thinking maybe I'll spray paint my microphone gold and call it the golden GWCC microphone. GWCC stands for Greater Works Christian Church. And this episode, or this podcast, is an extension of GWCC, our church. So I said I need the golden GWCC microphone because I didn't want to take EIB. That's Rush Limbaugh's. And then I came in here into my studio, which is the extra bedroom at my home. And I looked at my microphone and I realized, wait a minute, something's wrong here. You see, my microphone is a cool microphone. It really works good and I like it. But it's filled with LED lights that change color, slowly. So right now it's, let's see, what color is it? It's like a purple and to a red, and it just turned to blue, and then a light blue and a green. So it's just constantly changing colors. So I said to myself, you know what? There's something wrong with this. I don't have the golden GWCC microphone. I have the rainbow microphone. I couldn't believe I was even thinking that or saying that. But you know what? The rainbow belongs to God. It was his covenant, or his symbol, his statement of the covenant that he made with mankind after he destroyed the earth with a flood, that he would never do that again. He didn't say he wouldn't destroy the earth. He just wouldn't destroy it with a flood. And he put his rainbow in the sky so that every time we look up and see that, we can see the mercy and the promise of God. So I don't mind having a rainbow microphone, but please understand, ladies and gentlemen, the rainbow I'm speaking of is not only in my microphone, but it is attached to the promise of God, not the other rainbow. So who knows? Maybe one day I'll just break out and buy a $5 can of gold spray paint and spray paint my microphone so I can tell people, here I am behind the golden GWCC microphone. And I don't smoke cigars. But maybe I'll get some Twizzlers or something. I don't know. Some Red Vines. I said in my last few podcasts that I had some good news coming up. And I didn't want to let the cat out of the bag because we were still working on that good news. And now that good news is no longer good news. Well, it's good news to me, but it's a reality. Ladies and gentlemen, Greater Works Christian Church will no longer be at our 22nd Street location there in Lancaster, but we are now on L12, kind of down the street from us, because we were able to purchase a new church building. Now, you say, well, okay, whatever. You see, what we had before was a converted house, and we had some raw land next to it that we owned, and we were going to build. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. I had a little tickle in my throat, so hopefully that's gone. But anyways, we were planning on building, and we bought that particular land for that reason. And then, of course, the COVID nonsense and all the shutdowns, the shutdown of the city, and we couldn't get anything done. So we just figured we'll put it on hold until the whole COVID nonsense was over. And now I know it's over. But what happened was, ladies and gentlemen, what happened was in the middle of COVID, we saw all these churches shutting down, and churches, because they shut down, they couldn't pay their bills. They couldn't take care of things. People weren't coming, so they weren't giving, even though they streamed online. And you can go onto their streaming sites or their Sunday services or their midweek services on the internet, and there would be that little code or something that'll say, please give here, tithe here, and all that. People just stopped doing that. And so a lot of churches were in a lot of trouble financially. So I sat back and I said, maybe we shouldn't build. Maybe we should hold off, because maybe, just perhaps, maybe there'll be a church that will come up, because if they can't pay their bills, maybe they'll just want to sell their building. So we sort of sat on it for that reason, or at least I did. I wasn't really pushing it too much because I was really hoping and praying. However, we are still looking into it, still putting some monies away and everything. And just when we're at kind of that place where we said, we've got to do something. We either got to build or whatever. One of the members in our church, Carlos, he comes up to my wife actually and says, hey, have you guys thought of looking into and maybe purchasing a building that already exists? And of course, I didn't really tell too many people that. That was on my heart, on my mind, what I was praying for. And she says, yeah, as a matter of fact, we've been kind of loosely looking just to see, and if something pops up, we'll check it out. And later on that day, after Carlos and her had that conversation, that brief conversation, she's decided, hey, I'm going to look into it. I haven't looked into it in just a little while. I'm going to look into it again. And sure enough, boom, there's this church building that just went on the market. And I'm not going to bore you with all the details. We put a bid on it. We looked into it, we put a bid on it, and well, we got it. And we went into what we were hoping to be a 30-day escrow, which is usually pretty fast for commercial property to begin with. And in about 35 days, we moved in. Now, that's the cool part of the story. We got a brand new building, and it was move-in ready. The church that was in there before literally left us absolutely everything. We just literally moved in and had church. We didn't have to bring over anything. We brought over a few of our chairs, and not that we even needed them. The number of chairs was what we needed in the building already. We brought a few of our chairs over, mainly because, to be honest with you, we liked our chairs a little bit better than some of the chairs that were left. Only because they were kind of mixed and matched. They were comfortable and all, but nonetheless, we brought our chairs. They left everything: sound system, speakers, stage lighting, projectors, TVs, everything, ladies and gentlemen, everything. What a phenomenal blessing. Now, our biggest problem right now is we have a whole church full of things at our old property, and we're putting that up for sale, trying to sell it, but at our old property. And now we have to figure out where to put it all on the new property, because we already have all this stuff. And the stuff they left us, for the most part, except for the chairs, but everything else was better than what we had as far as sound system, stage lighting, things of that nature. So what a great thing that God did for us. But it gets better. It gets much better than that. So it was, instead of a, say, 45 to 90-day escrow like many commercial properties take, it was 35 days total. We moved in and had our very first service. Okay, check this out. We had a conference with the network that we're a part of, the Christian International Network, based in Florida, with Bishop Bill Hammond. And we had a conference, what we call the CI, what do they call it? City Tour Conference. And we were going to do it at our church. And we were really hoping and praying that we'd be in our new building to have it. We had to have the very first service, which was on a Thursday. Oh, I'm sorry, I take it back. 2 meetings. So the Wednesday night we had in our old building. And Thursday morning we had in our old building. But Thursday night we had it in our new building and had it Thursday evening, Friday, 2 sessions, Saturday and Sunday. And then, of course, last night was our Bible study, all in our new building. We haven't stepped, other than to show the property and take some things, we haven't stepped foot in the old property just yet. And so we were able to have this blessing with the Christian International leadership there at our church in our new building. So they got to, how should I say, celebrate with us. I almost said party, but that might give the idea that we're getting all liquored up. Don't want that. Anyways, we had our celebration with our Christian International family right there, so they can bless the building with us. We blessed it, they blessed it. And not only that, it goes even further. We moved in and had our first service on my birthday. That was my birthday. So what a phenomenal present that God gave to me. And I know it wasn't just all about me, because it's not my church, it's our church. But nonetheless, it was on my birthday. What a phenomenal blessing. And not only to top it off, but prophetically speaking, we just had Rosh Hashanah, and we just had also Yom Kippur, but then there's the 10 days of awe, right? Somewhere in the middle of the 10 days of awe, 10 days of repentance, the 10 days of awe, we were able to move in. And Apostle Gale spoke on Sunday at the church before he left, and that was just kicking off Yom Kippur from Sunday evening to Monday evening. Now, I say all that because this is such a prophetic time of the year, because if you know anything about Rosh Hashanah, we call it the new year, but it's the head of the year. And the 10 days of awe, or the 10 days of repentance, it's a celebration on Rosh Hashanah because of what God is doing. The books are being opened. 10 days you have to focus your heart on God and the things of God and the people, and make things right and make amends, so that on Yom Kippur, when Yom Kippur is over, you can be set, if you will, set for a full year of blessing by God. And our blessing literally started right in the middle of that. And last night, Tuesday night, when we have Bible study, that was the first service in our church that was just purely just us. It was not a conference. It was us, one day after Yom Kippur. And so, I look at that prophetically as God saying, now the books are sealed, for blessing or curse. Here's your blessing. So that tells me that there was something really great written down for not only me personally, but for the people of the church as individuals and our church as a whole. Something awesome. Our name was penned in God's book of life, book of blessing. And I'm really blessed by that all the way around. Now, if you don't look at it that way, that's fine. That's cool. Whatever. But I look at it that way because God never misses a beat, doesn't skip a beat. And God knows exactly what he's doing, when he's doing it, how he's doing it. So the fact that all of these awesome blessings came together all at one time at that Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur season, my birthday, with our conference there. The only thing that I regret, and there was not anything I or anybody else really could do about it, is there's some people that I really, I consider family all around the world. Rion and his wife Elisma in South Africa, Peter in South Africa. I got Peter Malinga in Zambia. These are all people that I really appreciate, and I consider them family. Fellow ministers, of course, and people I've ministered with, but family. It was just, I wish that we could have had all of them in, but who knows? Maybe we'll have to have a conference, an international conference, and invite them all in. But nonetheless, the point is, and we have Braulio down in Mexico, which I'm going to be able to see in about 6 weeks. We'll be down there with him. But nonetheless, my point is, that was my only regret, but there's not much we could have done about it because everything literally just happened so fast. But we will have them in. So we're going to have two, if you will, grand openings. We kind of had a grand opening with our Christian International family here, but we're going to have another grand opening with some of our international family some point in the near future. God is doing so many great things with GWCC. Now, I'm going to brag about my church, okay? And ladies and gentlemen, hear me on this one. When I say church, I'm using it more in that Western world traditional sense, for the most part. I think of a building and the meeting place of people. And I know, ultimately, that's not the church. It's a building for the church. The church is actually the people that have come together, okay? And so, nonetheless, when I use those interchangeably, just understand it's more about tradition. And when we get down to the actual meaning of these words, I understand the meaning and I do my best to use them correctly when we're in certain conversations. But if I try to use them or worry or concern myself about using them correctly all the time, a lot of people would misunderstand what I'm saying just because they understand the Western traditional use of the word church, not the more biblical use of the church, or the word church, which is ecclesia. And the word ecclesia, what's so interesting about the New Testament using that, Jesus using that word, I will build my church, or he says, my ecclesia. It's so interesting. The word ecclesia was used prior to that for political purposes. And it means the gathering of, say, the city or town's people into the town square to discuss the issues of the city or the town, which is political. So Jesus comes to the earth to establish the kingdom of God in the earth. And he says, I will build my church. Well, the kingdom of God is it's a political, if you will, organization, because it's a kingdom with a king. You can't get more political than that, ladies and gentlemen. And then he says, I will build my ecclesia, the place and the group of people coming together to discuss political issues for their city, their town, and surrounding area. Anyways, I just threw that out because I've heard all my life, the church shouldn't get political. The church is political if it truly is a church. I don't know if you understand that, ladies and gentlemen, but it really is. You shouldn't talk politics in the church. Everything we talk about is political in one way or another. So you may as well just jump in and just do it and talk righteous politics in the church, because that's what it's supposed to be about. But anyways, that's a freebie, ladies and gentlemen. I won't charge you for any of that. That's free. Anyways, back to GWCC, Greater Works Christian Church, my home church. Our new location, ladies and gentlemen, you can write this down if you want, but I'm going to do my best to remember to put it in the description notes for this particular episode. But our new location is still in Lancaster. The address is 1754, that's 1754, West Avenue L12, off of 20th Street West in Lancaster, California. So that's between L and M, closer to M, but between L and M, right off of 20th Street West. That's 1754 West Avenue L12. We'd love to have you join us sometime. Service times on Sunday. We have one service on Sunday, at least at this point, 10:30 a.m. on Sunday, and we have midweek Bible study Tuesdays, 7 p.m. And there's always something going on there. Prayer meetings and such. Thursday evenings at 7 p.m., a bunch of us come together and work out. We have a workout time. When I say workout, it's all body weight workout, a lot of cardio, but body weight workouts, push-ups, things of that nature. And it's kind of a CrossFit style body weight workout. So if you want to join us, please come in and please join us. If you want to come in on a Thursday, it doesn't matter your abilities or your health status. We have a licensed instructor that comes out, Coach Josh, and he also coaches over at CrossFit Inner Chamber in Lancaster, but he takes out of his busy schedule to come and train us on Thursday nights. And you can come in. If you can't even do one push-up or one squat or one sit-up, we can style a workout for you and get you started and get you moving and get you a little bit more healthy. So please come on in. If you can do 1,000 push-ups, please come on in. You'll encourage the rest of us. Certainly will encourage me because I'm not there. But over at GWCC, again, my home church, we have something for every age group. Every Sunday morning, we have classes for our children and teenagers all the way up to high school, I believe. Yeah, high school. And phenomenal classes. And right now, we're still getting our feel for the new place, so things are a little discombobulated, but we still have room and classes for them. They're just not decorated and painted the way we want them to yet. But nonetheless, they're there. We have something for everybody. And phenomenal. It's just a phenomenal group of people. And I know I sound like I'm bragging, but I'll be honest with you. I had very little to do with this. I give all the glory to God, and I mean this. I mean this because I have been told over the years that I'm too blunt. I rub people the wrong way. I make people angry. I offend people. I push people away. As a matter of fact, funny story. One Sunday morning, this goes back few years. If I remember correctly, 7, 8 years ago. Anyways, we're about to leave for church in the morning. And my wife grabs me by the shoulders and like snaps me to attention and stares deep into my eyes. And she says to me with all seriousness in her voice, "Do not scare away the new people." And then she let go of me and walked out the door. It left me standing there like, what just happened? What do you mean scare away the new people? I don't scare away the new people. Me? Moi? So that's become one of the running jokes in our home and even in our church, because of course I had to go tell everybody. But she meant it, and she still means it today. So I do my best not to scare away the new people or the older people. But so I can honestly say that the GWCC is the greatest church on the face of the planet. I know a lot of you just got upset at that, but I'm just telling you the truth. But I had so little to do with it, if anything at all. It's really God, and God has brought some of the greatest people on the planet, if not the greatest, at least the top 1% is in my church. And these are fantastic, wonderful, awesome people. Our pastors, Abraham and Adriana, just in case if you're wondering, wait, Abraham and Adriana are the pastors? Yeah, they're the head pastors. And you say, well, what are you? I and my wife are the overseeing apostles. And, a lot of people, have problems with that. But we're just doing our best to get down to what 1 Corinthians 12:28 tells us. God has established in his church, first apostles, second prophets, third teachers. And so we are trying our best to establish GWCC according to the biblical model. And if you're wondering what the biblical model is, read Ephesians 4, starting at verse 11, and also 1 Corinthians 12:28, and compare those together. And that's basically the skeleton of what we're trying to do. There's a lot more to it. As a matter of fact, on Tuesdays, right now, at 7 p.m., I'm teaching a series on apostles and the apostolic. I just finished, which is so cool, just before we came into our new building, I just finished a lengthy series on prophets and the prophetic. And now I'm focusing on apostles and the apostolic. And I'm trying to bring it into the modern age as well. What does the apostolic look like for us today? And so anyways, we're having a good time with that, and we're doing our best to establish our church and keep it established according to that model. That's why I tell people I'm not the pastor. Do you realize that nobody in the Bible that led a church was called pastor, and yet most everybody that leads a church today is called pastor? Well, we changed it somewhere, and you can never change the word of God. So just by virtue of that, we're out of order in one way or another. I know, again, a lot of people are upset at that when I say this, but it's true. Look in the Bible. How many people in the Bible were actually called pastor? Think about it. But how many people in the Bible were called apostle? And what did those apostles do? They established the church, and they led even the local church. But anyways, that's another story for another time. Come on out on Tuesday nights at 7 p.m., and we will study the scriptures together. But we have classrooms for the kids on Sundays, 10:30. We have teaching at their level for them. It's a great time. We have great kids. We have great leaders in each one of those classes. We have the little lambs for the little ones. We have Camp Click, and they're doing a great job for the kids right there in the middle. And then we have our young disciples for the junior high and high school age. Fantastic leaders doing a great job, and our kids are spectacular. So come on out and be a part of it. Oh, and one final thing. We also provide translation into Spanish. So if you have a family member or a friend that you want to bring that doesn't speak English very well or at all, we have headsets that they can put on, and we have a translator that will translate the preaching, the teaching into Spanish and through those headsets, so that our Spanish-speaking people and members, friends, and family can be taught and trained alongside with everyone else. And it's really worked really good for us. And we just had upgraded the system and everything. And we are working on, ladies and gentlemen, taking those translations, recording them, and then developing a Spanish-only podcast with those. So please be praying for that, because I think that's going to be a beautiful thing. A beautiful thing, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I think I gave my plug for my church, only because I'm so excited. I haven't really done this before, not for any other reason other than it's just we were really praying, and what are we going to do? How are we going to get there? What are we going to do? That's why for a long time I was saying, I got some good news coming. I got some good news. I didn't want to let the cat out of the bag too soon, because you know how that goes sometimes. Sometimes things happen. Sometimes things fall apart for one reason or another. Like our old place, our old location, we're selling it. We were in that process, and it just fell out, and it fell out of the process. So, and it's okay. It's just, I know that there's things that happen sometimes, or things that somebody throws a wrench into something somewhere and it prolongs it. And it just happened. So I didn't want to let the cat out of the bag too soon, but I really wanted to share. I was so chomping at the bit to get here with all of you and share our good news, because we want you to be a part of our good news as well. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I do have an article here that I want to read. It had nothing to do with what I said earlier on about the church necessarily, but I think it is important for us to know some of these things that are going on out there. I really wish I sat down for like 3 hours every day and I can just go over all the news highlights, but I don't have that kind of time, at least yet. So I am going to go here. Oh, you know what? Let me go back for just a moment. Let me backtrack. We have great pastors at our church, Pastor Abraham, Pastor Adriana, phenomenal, because they really have, not that I don't have a passion for people. It's just different. I'm like really to the point and blunt. I don't know how else to be. I don't know how to be anything else. It frustrates me and it frustrates other people when I'm trying hard to be that pastoral figure. It never really worked for me. But Pastor Abraham and Pastor Adriana, they're wired for that. They are true pastors that have not just a love and a passion for people, of course, but know how to take that love and passion and give it to the people and share it with the people in a way that really helps the people out in those moments. And that's where I lack. I'm just being honest. Have me stand up and correct wrong things, crack some heads, do that type of, whether you call it warfare or setting things in order, whatever. That's my forte. But when it comes down to taking the brokenhearted, taking those who are really going through something, and making them not just feel in a false sense, but really feel the love of God and the love of a church family, Pastor Abraham and Adriana have a gift in that area. So that's why they are the head pastors, and they do a fantastic job. So if you listen to me on these podcasts and say, I could never sit under that, that's too rough, that's too harsh, that's too whatever, we have things in the church, and people, I should say, in the church, such as Pastor Abraham and Adriana, that can fill that void and do what I can't do, and bring that kind of love and attention that people often need when they're going through something. They can bring that so that I can do what I need to do, what God has called me to do. They can do what God has called them to do. And as long as we're doing it together and with the same common goal, it really works out beautifully. So when things work out beautifully in our church, they really work out great. And I can honestly say that about the church. Again, I am bragging, but I'm more bragging about our God, because there's absolutely no way in a million years that I could put together a team the way God has put together this team, or do the things that God has himself done. When Jesus says, I will build my church, he truly built this church. And I'm not saying we're the only ones. Please don't misunderstand me, ladies and gentlemen. I know that there's a lot of fantastic churches out there that you could honestly say, yeah, okay, my name might be on the line, signed on that line, but really Jesus built the church and we're just along for the ride. There's a lot of churches like that. We just happen to be one of them. Anyways, now this article. Let me tell you about this. So the opening picture on this article, and it's from Daily Wire, and this was published September 26th, so that was yesterday. 2023. The title of this article is Target Cites Violence and Theft as Reasons for Closing 9 Stores Across the U.S. So this is the Target stores, and it is a picture of like the entranceway of a Target building. And that's all it really is. Entrance with people coming in and out. Anyways, and this article is by Brandon Drey, D-R-E-Y, of the Daily Wire. And it says, Target announces plans to shut down 9 stores across 4 different U.S. states after ongoing reports of violence, theft, and organized retail crime have threatened the safety of shoppers and employees. The company said, effective October 21, 3 stores in San Francisco, Oakland area, 3 more in Portland, 2 locations in Seattle, and 1 store in the Harlem neighborhood of New York will permanently close. We cannot continue operating these stores because theft and organized retail crime are threatening the safety of our teams and guests and contributing to the unsustainable business performance, Target said in a news release. Now, let me back up here for just a moment before I get back into this article. Did you pay attention to where these 9 stores are located? Let me see if I can find it again. 3 of those stores are in the San Francisco, Oakland area. Okay. Very, 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 very woke. Now, California as a whole is a very woke state as far as our government is concerned in Sacramento. But San Francisco and Oakland are disgustingly woke beyond even what's going on at Sacramento. Very, very woke. And there's 3 more stores in Portland, Oregon. Portland, extraordinarily woke. Disgustingly woke. 2 locations in Seattle, Washington. Seattle, again, very, very, very liberal, very woke. And then 1 store in Harlem. Now, I don't know too much about Harlem, but it's in New York City, so I'm assuming it's very woke because New York City, the city at least, is very woke. And I met some people from upstate New York, totally, completely, absolutely different than the city dwellers. City dwellers, that's funny. Anyways, from the people from New York City. So it's really strange. So when I say New York, I'm primarily speaking about New York City. Very, 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 very woke. So I'm assuming, and if I'm wrong in this, please forgive me, ladies and gentlemen, that Harlem is just as woke as the rest of New York City. So does that shock you, ladies and gentlemen, that 9 stores are being closed? Now, oh, and by the way, Target is extremely woke. If you remember, they were the ones that put out the rainbow stuff during Pride Month in June, targeting children. That was the place. And I really hate to say this because as a minister of the gospel, I really don't even like to think or know of these things. But we have to because they're in our world and we have to combat them. But remember, Target was the store that was putting on display not only the rainbow stuff for Pride Month, but really pushing this LGBT mentality and agenda onto children. They also had these, as one commentator said, the tuck the junk bathing suits for these men who think they're women. So it's a bathing suit for a man that looks like a woman's bathing suit with a special pocket in a certain area that you can do your best to tuck and hide the male genitalia so that they appear more like a woman. I kid you not, ladies and gentlemen, this is Target. So it's kind of mind-boggling to me that a corporation that is that woke, that is that liberal, that is that, giving into this perversion on that level. And they have their stores in these places such as San Francisco, Oakland, which is known for its homosexual LGBT community. It's well known. And then places like Portland and Seattle. And again, I don't know too much about Harlem, but at least the San Francisco, Oakland, and Portland and Seattle locations, very extremely woke, given over to homosexuality and LGBT and all of that. And you have the Target store, same thing. And they're shutting down because of the violence. What does that tell you, ladies and gentlemen? What does that tell you about the so-called tolerance of the left and these people in these communities. Yeah, they only tolerate what they want to tolerate when they want to tolerate. They'll even destroy their own if it pleases them. So you got this very woke Target corporation, very woke Target stores in a very woke neighborhood of a very woke city, and they still have to shut them down because these very woke people don't care and will still go in there and steal from them, rob from them, loot, to the point that now we have to shut these things down because we can't afford to stay open. Anyways, let me continue reading this. It says, before making the decision, Target officials said the retailer corporation invested heavily in efforts to prevent and stop organized retail crime in its stores, including ramping up internal security team members and third-party guard services, but struggled to combat the uptick in retail theft from organized smash and grab robberies involving large groups of thieves. So again, let me just comment on this. I also know something about these woke corporations, Target being one of them. They are actually mandating their employees. You cannot, if somebody's robbing the store, stealing something, do not stop them. As a matter of fact, we have heard of many people getting fired for stopping crime in the store that they work for. So, you go to work for Target, you're a cashier or a box boy, or it doesn't matter. You could be anybody there. But let's say you're a cashier and you look up and you see some people with armfuls of, clothing or items from the store marching towards the front door. Excuse me, sir, the register's over here. You need to pay for that first. And they just, whatever. And they just keep marching for the door, and they're stealing it. If you run over there and stop them, jump in front of the door, or physically assault them to stop them from stealing from the place that you get your paycheck from, you could be fired. Have you ever heard of anything so ridiculous that the employees will get fired for protecting their employers and the business and the company that they work for? Yes, that's what these woke companies are doing. That's what these places such as Target are doing. And now so much has been stolen from them. They say, we just got to shut down 9 stores because we can't afford it anymore. Well, maybe you should have thought of that earlier, Target. This whole woke, there's this new saying, go woke, go broke. And these woke corporations are suffering financially horribly. And they can't put 2 and 2 together. It is amazing for me to watch. It is really amazing for me to watch. As a matter of fact, I believe it's here in California. Maybe it's in LA. But anyway, somewhere here. Yeah, beautiful, sunny California. They want to pass a law that if anybody stops a thief from stealing something from a store, the person that stops them automatically is fined, I think it was $20,000. $20,000. So if I'm at the local convenience store, and I'm there to pick up a pack of my Wrigley's gum and maybe my Snapple drink, and I'm standing there in line and somebody starts to steal some food or steal something from the store. They grab a case of beer out of the ice chest and they start marching out without paying for it. If I stop that person, I get fined $20,000. And because whatever they stole wasn't over $950, they're not even going to be prosecuted. So what do you think this does to the criminal element all around us? It says, go ahead, do whatever you want, steal what you want, when you want, and how you want it. Just don't let it go, a dime over the $950, and you can get away with it. Because if that guy over there wants to stop you, he's going to get arrested or fined. You're okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not making any of this up. This is happening right here. And we're seeing this with these Target. They're finally getting a clue that they cannot sustain their woke ideology. They'll not just go broke. They're not just going to get hurt in their pocket, but they have to shut down. Now look at all these people that are losing their jobs because they can't put 2 and 2 together. Anyways, let me go on. So it says Target CEO Brian Cornell said last month the company has been battling an unacceptable amount of retail theft that has become increasingly violent and dangerous for workers. So he says it's interesting that he uses these words, unacceptable amount. So what is the acceptable amount of theft and violence. Isn't all theft and violence unacceptable? These guys, that's how they think. Like, there's this level that's okay, but once you cross a certain line, that's unacceptable. I'm saying if somebody comes in there and steals a Twinkie, that's unacceptable. They're still stealing. That's in their heart. That's who they are. And they should be treated as if the same way anybody stealing $1,000 TV should be treated. This is ridiculous. And these people, and he's the CEO. And I know what CEOs do. They check, their investors, and they do their best to keep their investors happy. He doesn't care about the store itself. He doesn't care about the product. He doesn't care about who does or does not steal. He doesn't care about any of that, except they can't lose so much money that they're closing stores. So now he's going to have to pay for this. But he has to make the investors happy. So if you got a bunch of, kind of dim-witted, elevator don't quite go up to the top, at least morally, investors for Target, well, he's doing his best to keep them happy, to keep the investments there. But mark my words, these guys at that level, they don't really care about the low-level people. They don't care that now they just closed 9 stores and put all these people out of work. Because if they really cared about that, you know what they would be doing? They would be, I know what I would like to do. I'd shut down the store for about instead of forever, just a week. And I'd give all my cashiers, box boys, everybody in the store, crash course in self-defense. I'd load them all up with tasers and pepper spray and give them the permission. If you see anybody stealing, make them pay. But that's just me, ladies and gentlemen. Anyways, so they were battling this unacceptable amount of retail theft that he helped create with his woke ideas. See, and that's the ironic thing about it. These corporations that went woke created this mentality and this ideology and this atmosphere. People are responding to it, and now they're upset and saying, now we have to close down because too many people are stealing from us. But you're the one that says you're not going to stop them. You're the one that told your employees that if you catch somebody stealing, let them go. Don't even worry about it. You're the ones that did it. Now you're paying for it financially, and you're scratching your head going, how did this happen? Anyways, let me go on. It says, store theft that included violence or threats of violence surged 120% during the first 5 months of the year, Cornell said, adding that Target's full-year profitability is expected to reduce by more than $500 million compared to the previous year. Now, $500 million, ladies and gentlemen, it's $500 million. So he expects their profitability to drop by $500 million. And this is the CEO saying that. Do you think... Now, CEOs don't want to give bad news to their investors. So believe me when I say this, it's going to be more than this. It's going to be more than $500 million. He's doing everything he can do to soften the blow to his investors. Trust me when I say this. It's going to be more than $500 million lost because of all of this. Anyways, the story continues. Cornell reportedly said the company intended to keep locations open after releasing its rising shrink reported in the fiscal second quarter earnings in mid-May. We do not want to close stores. We know how important our stores are. They create local jobs. They generate taxes. They're very important for those local shoppers, and they play a critical role in communities across the country. Cornell said, we'll continue to do everything in our power to keep our doors open, he added. At the same time, we'll be closely monitoring the safety of our team and guests as well as the financial impact to our business as we determine the right path forward at Target. I mean, again, this guy is so double-minded and strange. We're not going to stop anybody that steals in our store. We're not going to stop anybody that just grabs things and runs out. And we're not going to close any doors. Oh, wait a minute. We're getting violence and theft at an unacceptable rate, so we're going to shut down stores. It still amazes me. People that are left-leaners, the woke crowd, the progressive Democrats, because that's where all of this comes from, they're so double-minded. They have no real grasp on reality. None whatsoever. None whatsoever. It just blows my mind. Goes on to say, organized retail theft has spiked in cities around the country with videos from some incidents showing hooded figures. I like the way they wrote that. Hooded figures in dark clothes darting in and out of stores with merchandise, often expensive luxury items. Critics blame progressive prosecutors who they say allow criminals to get off without serious consequences, if they face consequences at all. Earlier this year, Senator Chuck Grassley, Republican of Iowa, a senior member of the Senate Judiciary Committee, and Senator Catherine Cortez Masto, Democrat of Nevada, introduced legislation to target the rise in flash mob robberies sweeping the nation, which they estimated cost retailers $720,000 for every $1 billion in sales, a 50% increase since 2015. Now, that's across the board, ladies and gentlemen. That's just across the board. That's not in a given location. Some places are going to be much worse than that. Others maybe not as bad, but some places much worse. It says the bill which Target officials advocated for it in its announcement on Tuesday would create a multi-agency federal task force at the state and local levels to promote interagency efforts in cooperation to crack down on theft and organized retail crime. Now, I'll tell you why I'm completely against this bill. I am completely against this bill after I read that line, because it says that this bill would create a multi-agency federal task force at the state and local levels. We don't need another agency. We don't need another agency. We need to get rid of these guys that aren't prosecuting and let our local police officers and sheriff's deputies do their job. We need to let go of it and let employees and security guards do their job. And if we could do that, we don't need another one. We just need to release the bans. You know, this whole defund the police, I've talked about that several times, is so ridiculous. You see what it leads to? In all of these places, they had to defund the police garbage. And now in all of these places, they're needing a whole new police department to deal with the crime. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that was by design. And many, they took the bait and now they're dangling on a hook looking like fools because they were the ones that were saying, yeah, defund the police, defund the police. Oh, wait a minute. Crime just rose. We need another police force. Oh, my gosh. Anyways, this article ends with Target's latest announcement comes after the company revealed a dismal quarterly report showing its sales sank 5.4% for the first time in 6 years after facing national backlash over its Pride Month collection. Anyway, so that's what happened. Now, I was reading another article on Daily Wire. I wish I could find that other article, ladies and gentlemen. I wish I could find it. Let me throw through here real quick. And it had some video attached to it. And the video that was attached to it was some of these, not necessarily smash and grab, but I guess that, where a large group of young people ran into, it was in Philadelphia. That's where it was. Philadelphia, a large group of young people ran into several stores and just started grabbing things. Of the stores that were listed, one was Apple. I wish I could see it just so I can at least tell you about it. But an Apple store, a Lululemon. I'm not even sure what that is, but a Lululemon. And there was several other stores. But anyways, they just ran in and started grabbing things and run out, stealing things. And in this particular video, and this is in very liberal Philadelphia, the cop showed up and was just grabbing these young people as they're running out of the store with their loot. And they were outnumbered in that sense, but they were just grabbing these young people and throwing them on the ground and what it appeared to be arresting them, at least subduing them. There was one young man that the officer literally had him in a headlock and was dragging him out of the store, and the young man was kind of fighting back. And he threw him on the ground, and he was still kind of fighting back. He just socked this young man in the face. Now, when I say that, please, that's police brutality. Number one, he didn't hit him that hard. He didn't even knock the kid out, all right? But it sure woke him up. And he stopped. He stopped kicking. He stopped fighting. He just mellowed. And as I was watching that, I was applauding these officers. And what I was saying, I said, finally, somebody is doing to these young people what their parents should have done to them when they were growing up. In essence, these officers, these cops, were acting as good parents, spanking unruly children. Because the whole time, every time I see one of these videos, I say, where are the parents? Where are the parents? One of the videos, this goes back maybe a few months, there was a department store where a large group of young people ran in. When I say a large group, I counted in one of the videos, I think it was like 30 young people. So a large group in that sense, doing the wrong thing. Just walked in, started grabbing stuff and running out. And I'm looking at that going, where are the parents? Now, I agree, my kids, I didn't follow my kids around absolutely everywhere, but my kids knew. You ever do something like that, and I find out about it, after I'm done with you, I'll take your butt down to the police station and say, here he is, or here she is. You know that video? This is one of them. Do what you want. Because I was not going to raise criminals in my house. And these young people, I don't care if they're 13, I don't care if they're 20. I don't care if they're 50. They're criminals. When they run into a store and they steal things that do not belong to them, and if they're under the age of 18, in my honest opinion, the parents should pay for it. I'm sick and tired of hearing, he was a juvenile, he was only 13 years old, so he got off with a slap on the wrist. Well, what about mom and dad that raised that little criminal? Maybe they should spend some time behind bars. Maybe they should do some community service as well alongside Junior and get a taste of their failed parenting. I'm so sick and tired of this, ladies and gentlemen, because kids, for the most part, they're kids. They're decent. For the most part, well, let me back that up. Kids are what they're trained to be, what they're taught to be, what they learn in the home from mom and dad. And if mom and dad aren't teaching them how to live righteously and morally, then somebody on the streets is going to teach them to live, well, like a street thug. And that's what's happening. And this is what's happening all across our country. And it's happening mostly, not only, but mostly in these woke cities. And they're targeting what's I find ironic. They're targeting these woke corporations. So between the corporation policies, the store policies, and the city policies, all woke, it just opens the door for this kind of bad behavior. And all of these woke governmental officials and woke CEOs and woke managers, they're scratching their head going, what happened? I thought our policies we're going to put an end to that because we understand them. We understand what they're going through. They don't need us to hit them under it. We don't need them behind bars. We just need to accept them for who they are. Well, look what it got you. Now 9 Target stores are shutting down. And all the people that worked in those 9 Target stores are going to be looking for a job. And the people in those communities that shopped at those Target stores now have to go find somewhere else to shop, maybe drive a little bit further, spend a little bit more money. Why? Because of your woke policies. Ladies and gentlemen, you want to help put an end to this? I'm going to tell you what we should do all together. But we have to do it together. This can't be just one person or 2 people or a small group of people. It won't make an impact. All of us. When you find out that a corporation, a company, a store is woke, stop shopping there immediately. As a matter of fact, I know they're shutting down these 9 Target stores. You know what? Everybody that gets it, everybody that understands, and everybody that's tired of this kind of nonsense from these woke corporations, every one of us should stop buying or going to Target for anything. So check this out. If even 50% of their customer base stops coming, it's going to hit them so hard in their pocketbook. They will wake up, change their policies, change the way they do things, and then we can go back to maybe a more healthy shopping experience. You say, well, I just love Target. I couldn't stop going there. You're the problem. You're the problem. There's some businesses here locally, ladies and gentlemen, right here in my own hometown, Palmdale and Lancaster, or actually in my hometown, Lancaster, but also in Palmdale and the surrounding areas, that I still won't go into because when I went into them during the whole COVID nonsense, they stopped me at the door. Sir, you can't come in here without a mask. I don't wear masks for health reasons. Sorry, you cannot come in here. And if you don't leave right now or put on a mask, we're going to throw you out. Okay, I'll leave because I really don't want to be where I'm not wanted. I'll take my money elsewhere. And not only will I not be back during the COVID nonsense, I won't be back ever. They lost me as a customer forever. There's certain restaurants I won't go to that I really enjoyed. And I enjoy their food, but I won't go to anymore because of that. There's a local, I won't tell you the retailer because it was just, there's 2 of them in our area. One treated us, like it was crazy. It was around Christmas time, basically threatening to kick us out if we didn't have a mask. But the one in the next town near us welcomed us in without any problem. So I understood it wasn't necessarily a store or, it was a store policy, but a local policy, not a corporation policy per se, I should say. And I'll go to the one, I'll drive to the next town to go into that. Well, I guess I could tell you what it is. It was Ross, and I always would shop at Ross. That was our place to go for clothing and stuff. But the one here in Lancaster treated us horribly. Christmas time during the COVID stuff, horribly. Threatening us and all that, making a fuss because I didn't want to wear a mask. And when we left, fine, I'll leave, but I'll never come back. We drove to the Ross in Palmdale, and I kind of had a chip on my shoulder. I'll admit I was going to go there and see, hey, if they're going to do the same thing, I'm Ross, never. And they treated us well, never said a thing. Hi, welcome to Ross. What? Nobody's standing at the door like a Nazi, checking my papers, my paper mask? No, not in Palmdale, but certainly in Lancaster. So I'll go to the one still today in Palmdale, but not in Lancaster. And again, there's restaurants that I won't go into. There's other stores that I won't go into because you want to treat me like you're a Nazi? Forget it. I'm not going to be here. I'm not going to give you my money. So I don't know why. I'll be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know why anybody still goes to Target with their track record of nonsense. People are so quick to overlook this stuff. Another place that I won't go, and I grew up going here and I loved it, was Disneyland. And this is heartbreaking to me because we were a Disney family. When I say that, we went minimum once a year. There was a time when my wife and I had season passes, and we would go down there just to hang out. It was like date night or date day, I should say. Sometimes it wasn't about just seeing how many rides we can get like we were little kids. It was just having something to do, go down there, eat some chicken in the chicken place, see the people, listen to the music, things of that nature. We loved it. But then Disney started going extremely woke. I guess it always was, but it really started coming out, and it's in sick, perverted ways. Just look at some of their movies and their cartoons and stuff. So I knew deep down, I can't do this anymore. They are completely against everything I'm for, and they are for everything I'm against. You talk about a corporation that now is grooming children in a sick, perverted way. That's Disney. Now, I don't want to put this on anybody else because this is a personal thing, but I'll be honest with you at the same time. I don't know how it can't be personal with you. If you love your children, you want to protect your children and keep your children from that nonsense, I don't know how it can't be personal for you. I was talking to my brother just recently, and again, of course, being raised up in the same house when we were younger, we were Disney. And I told my brother, I said, I feel like Disney has betrayed us. That was our part of who we are, who we were. As a family, we used to go down there with my mom and dad. And he says, I feel the exact same way. There's absolutely no way I could give them my money. I can't go down there and do that. He says, they've betrayed us. Now, I'm telling you this to make a point, of course, but think about it. So is Target. They've betrayed all of us. So is a lot of, not a lot, not some. All of these woke companies have betrayed us, have betrayed you and I, the citizens of the United States. They've betrayed us. And we're going to go give them our money? Oh, no. They're not going to get my money anymore. And, I don't really dig betrayal. And the people that betray me or those that I really care for, I just write them out of my life. Just like I did Target, just like I did Disney, just like I did Ross in Lancaster and several restaurants. They betrayed me. They betrayed us. They betrayed you. I'm not going to give them my money anymore. And I suggest, and this is just my suggestion, ladies and gentlemen, I suggest that you find other places to shop and give your money to. Anyways, let me wrap this up. So we see this stuff going, again, go woke, go broke. And it's even more than just financial, getting hit financially. Morally, they're already corrupt. They're broken. This whole woke ideology is broken. The whole LGBT system and agenda is broken. And a broken system, if not repaired, breaks other systems or breaks other people. And that's what we see happening. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope and pray that each and every one of you will wake up to the truth and the reality of this. Your money speaks very loudly. Take that money away and give it to somebody else. And these woke companies they'll get the clue. And they'll either go completely out of business and close their doors like 9 of these Target stores, or they will change the way they do things, straighten up, and be more concerned with you and what you want than all these political and perverted ideologies out there that are against your children, grooming your children, hurting your children. We need to stand up and take our money somewhere else. I hope you're with me. Thank you for choosing Table Flippers Podcast. To find our merchandise page, go to gwcclancaster.org. then find the table flippers link, click on it, and it'll take you right there. Until next time, have a fantastic day. Say goodbye, Chippy.
Goodbye.